Hello, Africa, and wherever you're watching from. So, Australia, New Zealand, Asia, America, or wherever you're watching from, hello and welcome to this, the hydration break. Yes, we had the halftime show, and now we're on the hydration break. And what is a hydration break all about? You might be asking yourself. The hydration break is all about the Jobs on the Rise survey that we're running. The Jobs on the Rise survey is looking across Africa, talking, of course, with those of you who are in employability to find out what skills matter as we start thinking about jobs that are going to influence the future of Africa. And with that being said, of course, if you're watching from around the world, we want your participation because we're only going to be live for 15 minutes. It's a hydration break. It's a quick one. It's not a full-on webinar. So definitely get into the chats and let us know where you're watching from. What is the big problem we're trying to solve for? You might be asking yourself. What we are trying to solve for on this live stream, and of course, with the survey that's currently taking place. And by the way, the survey closes at the end of June. And that's why we are doing this show in extra time to let you know what matters. So, what are we trying to solve for? We're trying to solve for the fact that right now there's a lot of people looking for jobs, and yet companies and organizations are saying that they can't find talent. So, what are we getting right or wrong about hiring, building up skills, and of course, employability? And what we're doing is speaking to those who influence hiring, those who write these policies, those in HR, recruitment, talent acquisition, those in learning and in development. What's more, we've even reached out to those in universities to ensure that when graduates come out, they are ready for the world of work. So, those of you who are in HR, recruiters, talent acquisition, this survey is all about you. We're taking input only from those in the profession so that we can have sanctified data that helps our job seekers and helps those who are looking for economic opportunities. If you haven't received the survey link already and you're on the stream and you're in Africa, get into the DMs or reach out to myself or my VAR referee who's coming on screen just now so that you can get access to that link. So, if you got a question, definitely jump into the chat and ask. But before we get to your questions, let me bring in my match VAR referee, as we did with the halftime show. Nyasha, welcome.
Thank you, Stewart. Great to be part of this again, and looking forward to the interactions. And I can see you are hydrating. Let me also hydrate.
And for those of you who are watching, this might be that moment where you need to reach out and get that glass of water, clear the throat, and get ready for this quick 15-minute show. So, Nyasha, without wasting people's time, we had the halftime show. There's definitely been some changes ever since. I'm today playing the anchor, you the VAR. What has changed with the scoreline since halftime?
Well, Stuart, one of the things that we were seeing when we did the halftime show was just the unavailability of data coming from West and North Africa. We've seen an uptick from that, and we're very happy, but we need more. Africa's not, like we said in the halftime show, Africa's not a country. So to be able to really break down this data and give our audience the data that will be useful to them, we want recruiters, HR professionals from West and North Africa to really reach out and jump onto this survey.
Well, halftime score looks like East and Southern Africa is leading 3-0 or 3-1. And it looks like North and Central and West Africa, you are behind. So get your HR professionals engaged, reaching out to us so they get the secure link and they put in their input before the end of this month. Why? Because the results, the deep results, are only going to be shared with those who participate. So we've seen what the halftime score is. And again, like I said, if you are watching, we're encouraging you to participate. So if we go into a check in terms of what's happening on the pitch, are we watching the wrong part of the pitch? That's the question we have for you today.
Well, I think there's definitely a focus on what we call tech jobs, right? Whether it's high tech stuff, your AI, or even just low-level tech, IT administrator. There's a lot of tech jobs, but what we want to see is where the spread is. There must be a demand in agriculture. Agriculture is growing, especially in across the continent, quite a lot. There's a lot of manufacturing growing as well. So we don't
Right.
want this to be a tech-heavy survey, and we're asking our HR professionals because you might work in an FMCG environment, and you see the link coming from us, and you think, well, these guys want to hear about our tech hiring. No, we want to hear about all the hiring, plumbing, um, shop fitters, all the things that are happening in your environment. We want to hear about them. We want to actually understand what those skills are. Right now, there's a lot of conversations about AI versus plumbing, right? Hard
Right.
skills. But without that data coming from you guys, we won't be able to actually discern where the growth is.
I think the call out there is if you are currently employing, enabling those who power up, those who feed, those who maintain, those who build Africa beyond those who sit behind laptops. We're asking you to participate in this survey so that we can understand what are those skills that you're looking for. Is it mechanics? Is it carpenters? Or is it agronomists that you need in your economy? All right. So we found out what's happening with the pitch, and we found out if we are watching the wrong part of it, and that we need to get a holistic picture of the world of work. With that being said, let's move over to the penalties and see if we're going to issue a penalty or not, Nyasha. So, is Africa currently overlooking practical work and technical work? And again, for those of you who are watching, this is your moment to get into the chat and let us know. And you know what, Nyasha? Let's call out a couple of people that are watching right now. Jane One Joy, thank you for jumping in and
Yeah,
participating in this discussion.
nice.
And a special shout out to, of course, a good friend, Edmund, who's also joining in from Kenya. But back to the question, Yasha, penalty
Well,
or
look,
no penalty?
I think it's a penalty. I think there's a lot of economic growth in non-IT in the non-IT world, but the whole world is talking about AI and AI and AI and how AI is replacing jobs and that kind of stuff. So we're getting to the space where it is the talk of the town, but I don't think that we need to just move with the trend. So what we're starting to see from the data is that yes, there's a lot of IT jobs, but we're seeing a good amount of signals that are telling us that the practical technical work is also highly favored. But the question again is, are there people with skills? And if the jobs are out there, how do we match the two?
Absolutely. How do we match the two? And of course, how do we advise those who are thinking about entering into the world of work? Let's stop for a minute and just reflect. If we go back to the time when COVID had disrupted the world of work, who were the people called essential workers?
That was your doctors, your nurses, your plumbers, your electricians. That's when you decided that you needed the TV to be mounted on the wall, and the guy to do that was your handyman, right? And handymen were being given those special passes. Those are the people that were allowed to move around and go into people's houses. So yeah, so I mean, it showed that that skill level is still important, and the question is, where do people find those kind of jobs? And that's what we're trying to help with this survey.
Perfect. And in terms of also with the survey, we're all trying to help those who are entering into the work, those who are transitioning in the world of work, and those who develop the curriculum that influences those who work. Let's move over to this week's offside or onside trap. So, if talent is there, why can't the market see it, Nyasha? Can you help us answer that golden question? And of course, those of you who are in the chat right now, please let us know how you would solve for this or how you would answer this. So over to my VAR referee, Nyasha.
Well, I think there's a lot of conversations about how do you show your skill, right? And in this practical sense, if you're a
Mhm.
plumber, how do you get onto LinkedIn, right? And then how do you actually show that capability on a 2D environment? Of course, a lot of people want to say, well, I'll come show you what I can do and then you can hire me. But I think there needs to be a level of understanding that these platforms, these job marketplaces, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Fuzu, or wherever else, you jobs are posted. Um, those postings need to cover the whole range, right? And then the guys who are applying need to have figured out how to be on those platforms, uh, because it's a platform play. There's no it's not going to be in the newspaper anymore, and unfortunately, but even on top of that, you're not just going to walk from place to place trying to say, hey, can you hire me, can you hire me, can you hire me? So I think there lies the gap in terms of what
Right.
people are putting out there, and how the people are putting themselves out there. So how do we match that?
Wow. Well, there's a question for all of us. If you are in the chat, the question is, if the talent exists today, why is the market not seeing it? And Nyasha's taken a stab at answering it. And of course, we've got people like Celestine who are joining. And Celestine, we're asking for you and those of you who are also in the chat to help us answer some of these questions. But we've said we're only on for 15 minutes. So let me pick up the pace, Nyasha. What is the red card you're issuing this week? What deserves to be sent off?
Well, I think just following the theme of this hydration break is HR professionals who are in that FMCG, in the agriculture space, who are not giving us data, because we need to match. We need to match. This survey data is going to help people actually better understand, how do I get into agriculture? How do I get into manufacturing? How do I get into these spaces that people are talking about, as developing, and not spend my time just thinking AI. I need to have a wide spectrum. So my red card is going to any HR person who's in that FMCG space, retail, who's not responding because they think this is an IT survey. It's not an IT survey. It's for everyone.
And that's it. It's for everyone. And of course, Africa is not a country, it is a
No, it's not a
continent. So
country.
we,
Yeah.
so let's move over to the golden boot predictions, Nyasha. Let's get this a little bit edgy. So, what are your golden boot predictions in terms of the future of work for Africa? And what I'm looking for here, let's maybe quantify this and make it easy. And for those of you who are in the stream and then in the chat, we're asking you also golden boot predictions for the future of Africa. What's one profession? What's one skill? And what's one country that's going to lead and win in this race for the future of work in Africa? Nyasha, your golden boot predictions as we wait for people to get into the chat and put in their predictions.
I think one skill that's going to come out and everyone's going to talk to is adaptability, uh,
Mhm.
because it's the market is changing so much. Um, we talked to retailers last week, in a webinar, and we were talking about e-commerce versus in-store, and the
Mhm.
words that were coming out were adaptability. Adaptability is a skill that I think is going to come out of this survey. I think the
Okay.
country that I think the country that's gonna shock us, and I hope you allow me, is either going to be a Zambia or a Malawi that's going to give us some serious data about adaptability and the skills that they require there. And that industry, I think, is going to be I'm going to go for the traditional financial services.
No, no, no. I think I'm an outlier. I had those who have skills in terms of water management because I see with all these
Oh
data centers,
wow,
water is going to become super
wow.
critical.
Uh-huh.
And then in terms of countries, I was calling out, and again, we did say the rules are don't call out your own country. So Rwanda had my vote there, but of course, strong chase coming in from the big economies of Kenya, South Africa, and
Hmm.
Nigeria as usual
Hmm.
in terms of evolving. But I think, like you said, it'll be an outlier country like Rwanda that will surprise us all as we go forward. And then in terms of skills, for me, it's going to be compassion. I think as we
Wow,
go forward, our human skills are the skills that
wow.
we need to develop and the skills that will help us survive in the world going forward. But that was our golden boot predictions. We did say we're going to be on for a short time. Don't want to keep people on for much longer. Let me ask
Mhm.
you, Nyasha, what is the number one skill that will help someone get hired? In case we got, of course, job seekers, those who've been laid off, and graduates on the stream right now. What's that number one skill?
I think I'm going to sit on that adaptability, but it's how you're going to show that. So you're going to have to show that in what you studied versus the kind of work that you've been doing, right? So I'm a HR graduate, and I've never actually worked in an HR environment. I've been in consulting, then in technology. So how do you show that I studied this, but I was able to transition and I'm doing well in that transition? Or I studied this and I'm using it in a different field in a different way. So that adaptability is the thing that's going to get you hired.
And closely sitting underneath that whole adaptability is, of course, your skills and your impact and the results, and being able to demonstrate to the world that I can actually do what the paperwork says that I can do. Nyasha, let's move over to the penalty kicks. We've got 3 penalty kicks. And of course, we're asking people that are online to participate. And it's quite simple how to participate. So I will put up a scenario and I will simply ask you to give it an A, B, C, or D, or what you think your best answer is. Or of course, you have an option to put a comment. Last time, and I am sorry to call you out for this, Nyasha, we had 5 penalties and we only managed to score 2. Let's see if today, if I reduce the
Let me drink
penalty
water.
to 3, right? I think time for that hydration break to kick in. I'm
Hmm.
going to give you 3 penalty kicks and let's see how you do with the audience that's watching. So, penalty kick number 1. Which jobs are most at risk of being ignored? And those are your options A, B, C, and D. And of course, if you are watching or you have a question, please get into the chat as I ask Nyasha A, B, C, or D.
A, I'm going with A.
All right, skilled trades. And in fact, there it's a good call out, but that is absolutely the wrong answer.
Wow. Thank you.
I'm telling
Thank you
you,
for that
it's going to be
for that
all.
high and that low.
Oh, of course, it's going to be all of the above. All right. So, all of those skills
Mhm.
do matter. But let's move on to the second question here. What is the bigger hiring issue? A, B, C, or D? And if you're in the chat, you're welcome to comment on this. Let's not get it all wrong like Nyasha is doing right now.
B. I'm going for B.
And why are you going for B? Too many applicants and not enough
Not
fit.
enough
Yep.
fit. Yeah.
That's a
Hmm.
problem for the business, right? So essentially, what we're saying for organizations is data is key. Of course, we want to make sure that when we are looking for the right talent, we're getting the right kind of people and that those people are the right fit for the organization and that we're not just looking to get volume coming into the business. And you know what, Nyasha? I think you're looking into the comments because Jane has been helping you. Yeah, that's right. Thank you,
Thank you,
Jane,
Jane.
who's watching, I think, from Kenya and helping Nyasha here as he struggles into his last penalty kick of the day. So, last penalty kick of the day, Nyasha. Who needs to show up more strongly as we work on Africa, jobs on the rise, and of course, the future of work for Africa?
Huh. I'm gonna go for C.
And C is, of course, those in skills, trades, and technical sectors. And again, Yasha, you've been consistent on this show. I'm super proud of the fact that you've consistently gotten all 3 wrong.
Here we
Oh
go.
my
Here we go.
lord! Oh
Here
my
we go.
lord! Can somebody in the chat jump in and help this man here because Edmund thinks it is L&D. Okay, that's interesting. And of course, we got Jane again thinking that it's L&D. So, guys, the jury's out there. These are things we should debate. And I'm encouraging you post the stream to get into the chat and help quantify your various answers. Nyasha, this has been thrilling. This has been exciting. This has been interesting. But of course, you have not won anything. What would you like to tell the audience as you walk away? As not a sore loser, a happy loser.
No, no, definitely happy. I think we're now at the stage where we're getting our own data. You know, Africa is not a country. We need data from all sectors, from all countries, and we need to represent ourselves. So happy to be a part of this. And, you know, we're going to be doing this every year. So it's going to get exciting, more interactive. And yeah, just participate, give us data. It's going to be data that you can use. We're doing this for you. So please join in.
That's it. We hit the 22-minute mark like we did last time. We promised them 15 minutes and we went 22. It's called extra time, folks. Extra time to call out those of you in North Africa. Extra time to call out those of you in West Africa. Extra time to call out those of you in Central Africa. Why? Because those three regions are falling behind in terms of the data that we're seeing. Well done to you, East Africa and Southern Africa, for your participation. Well over 600 HR directors and talent acquisition professionals have given their input. So if you are in that space, if you are in recruitment, if you're in talent acquisition, or if you're working with students and helping with student success, the call out for you is reach out to Nyasha, reach out to me. We're going to give you a secure link so that you can participate before the 30th of this month. And like I said, what will happen is that when the results are published, those who participated are going to get deeper and richer insights available to them. And then we will do the general public report, which will be published in July. So, folks, if you want those richer reports, you're in HR, you're in talent, you are in construction, you're in agriculture, please participate in the survey. That's the simple call out from this session. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the hydration show and that we will all now ramp up and participate in the survey so that end of this month, we get a picture of the Africa that we want to build. With that being said, Nyasha, any final words from you before I take you off camera and roll out?
No, Asante Sana for all the people joining in. Thank you very much. And yeah, we look forward to all the data.
And as he said, the conversation continues in the chat. Yeah. Keep on adding things in the chat. And with that, we wish you a productive and a successful day. And of course, keep rehydrating as the day goes forward.
Cheers.
Goodbye.